Guys, just wanting to give you the heads up with the finale for Vodka Lectures Season 1. It is very raw and real for me. It is talking about loving yourself, and we do touch on subjects like, suicide and cancer, and I just obviously wanted to give you the heads up, but it's super important that we talk about these things because that's what's going to sort of wrap up the whole season for everyone and really be able to make us all move forward. It was on the path to my journey. It may have been on the path in your journey. So it's really important going through this episode that we all go on this journey to loving ourselves and becoming the best version that we can be. I hope you enjoy the episode.
All right, everyone, listen up. You think life's a smooth ride? Think again. From hot takes to vodka breaks, I'm here to serve it straight. No chaser, just a twist of lime. It's time to get real. Pour yourself a skinny bitch and get ready for a vodka lecture. From me, Chrissy Marsh, unfiltered, unapologetic, and straight to the point. Get ready for your weekly shot of reality.
I'm here today to tell you you've got to love yourself. You've got to love yourself before anything else, because if you can't love yourself, then no one else will. And I'm not talking looking in the mirror going, oh my God, Chrissy, you look hot in that black velvet dress. Oh my God, Chrissy, you look gorgeous. I'm not talking about that sort of loving yourself. I'm talking about a general appreciation for who you are as a person. So a lot of people can look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. Their self-talk is, oh my gosh, you don't look great. Their self-talk is, oh my gosh, you could be skinnier, you could be taller. Oh, I wish you had blonde hair. I wish you. So it's this constant critiquing of your physical form. And next time you look in the mirror, think about what's something really nice you've done for someone, or don't always look at your physical form. Don't always pull yourself to pieces. This is a really interesting topic. I'm going down a deep, dark hole for many, many people. And I think it's so important to go down this hole because this whole season has been making a better version of yourself. And you can do the goals, you can do the, positive affirmations in relation to money. You can create so many good things around you, including your relationships. But if your relationship to yourself is still broken, you're never, ever going to be able to have a relationship with anyone else on the level and depth that will be meaningful for the rest of your life. I know that sounds like hugely catastrophic, but it's true. The most important relationship in the world is how you view yourself and how you see yourself and how you talk to yourself. I just want you to stop and think the last things that have run through your mind and how you've spoken to yourself. Imagine if you said those words out loud and your mother heard them. She'd be mortified. You've got to think that if you're speaking to yourself, you should be speaking to your best friend exactly the same way. You've got to love yourself like you love your mother, like you love your boyfriend, like you love your girlfriend. Like you've got to talk to yourself in a manner that makes you feel good and lifts you up. You've got to be your own champion. You've got to be your own hero. Because in the world, and especially in Australia with the tall poppy syndrome, everyone can be very quick to criticize, very quick to ridicule. I've had some of my girlfriends saying to me, oh yeah, but this person turned around when I finally found love and said, oh, well, that boyfriend's only going to drop you anyway. And why would you need someone so quickly after you've broken up with someone else? There's so much negativity that we're getting every day, not only through social media, everywhere around you. So what you've got to make sure is that you're your best champion. You're the person that's speaking to you the best way. Like, I'm not just talking about looking in the mirror and looking at your body and appreciating. I don't care what size you are. Everyone has something to love about them. Everyone has something to be able to look in the mirror and say something good about yourself. And, slowly by changing your thought process and the acceptance of who we are and what we are, like, haven't always been, slim Jim and all this. There's times after a baby where I put on, huge amounts of weight, but I would still always have this great relationship and look at myself and go, yeah, Chrissy, you might be a bit overweight, but at the end of the day, you've carried another human inside you. Give your body a break. So this is the self-talk that I'm talking about. This is how you've got to catch yourself, because you'll always be your world's worst enemy, and you will never really gain momentum on this, making the new version of yourself work, even achieving the goals that you want to achieve, if you're still speaking to yourself poorly. And when I say, it's the way you talk to yourself, that comes into your body image as well. That comes into the way that you feel within your own skin. And you're not telling me that if you're looking in the mirror thinking you're not skinny enough, not pretty enough, not this, you walk into a room and guess what? You are projecting all of that. People say to me, oh my gosh, when you walk into a room, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. But you know how I do that? I do that, and I do portray that positive energy, because that's actually what I believe to myself. Like, I am so kind to myself. I'm actually kinder to myself than I am to my kids, than I am to my husband, because you have to be, because you're the ones that then have to go out and support other people in the world. And if you weren't amazing to yourself, you can't go and give out to anyone. You can't go and love someone. You can't go and look after anyone unless you truly, truly look after yourself. And like, this hasn't sort of, I was lucky enough, I've spoken before, that I do have incredible family and I do have a lot of positivity around me, but I also create that amongst myself. I know I've mentioned in one of the earlier episodes, when I got cancer and the way that I dealt with it and the way that I didn't talk to many people about it, because that was controlling my narrative. That was controlling the way I spoke to myself about it. Because if I went out telling the world all of these secrets and all of these things that I was struggling to deal with, then the problem is then my self-talk would be talking about that every day. And for me, the C word was something I didn't need to deal with, because it had knocked on the wrong door. It had spoken to the wrong person, because I wasn't going to let it beat me. And I think this is so important about the way that we talk to ourselves, and because then it goes out to the way we project in the world. Obviously, after I had the cancer scare, I did reevaluate my work. I did realize that I was putting far too much into my work, not enough into me. I wasn't giving my body the time to rest and recuperate after work. I wasn't giving myself the time to, relax. It's funny. I mean, Roxy Jasenko is a classic example. Both her and I started our businesses. I was 34. She was 24 when she started Sweaty Betty. I started Billy Corp at the same time. And I really looked at this, propulsion of our careers, and we're both riding so high. And, there's only so much you can do without really getting sick. And I don't want to turn around and say, it is a neglect of health. And I'm not saying that's why people necessarily get cancer. But I do think you can't have everything all at the one time. You've got to be able to slow down. That's when I've been really interested in, making my own cleaning products, in, making sure that my household, that the environment that I can control is as healthy as it can be. I got into eating all organic food. I got into, and that was probably in my, mid-20s that I decided this, well before I found out that I was sick. With cancer. I'd already started on that journey of, going down the organic path, washing my fruit and vegetables in apple cider vinegar and making sure, all the pesticides are removed. So it was really sort of building this whole, doing everything I can in order to look after my health, because that's the problem, I think, so many times with mothers and fathers and parents is you give so much to your children, you give so much to everyone, and there's only so many hours in a day, without realizing, you've got to stop and actually give back to yourself. I mean, even if you're single and you've got this huge power job and people look back and go, oh, I wish I had time to, give more time to myself, or to exercise more, or to meet someone. The problem is, if you're giving so much into one thing, into your job or into the, you're never actually going to be able to sit back and say, oh, I've had a rounded life, I've had a full life. And then like me, I had a big wake up call when I did get cancer and when I did get sick. It made me stop and reevaluate, okay, I am doing too much. I've got to give more time for me, because if you're not around, who's going to look after all the loved ones around you? So I think it's exceptionally important to really retrain the brain, retrain and pick yourself up. I want you to even write down, if you're a chronic overthinker, every time you say something mean to yourself. Don't write it down what you're saying, because you want to forget it and reiterate with something positive. But if you have to say, I'm amazing, I love myself, 50 to 100 times a day to retrain your brain to stop it picking at you and picking out negative thoughts and looking in the mirror and saying horrible things, write on your mirror with a or even indelible marker so it doesn't come off, or with a whiteboard marker, write on every mirror in your house, you're beautiful, Chrissy, or you're beautiful, Karen, or you're beautiful, Stephen. Whatever it is rather than look in the mirror, it'll stop you and stop you from thinking about bad thoughts. And until you can retrain your brain, and I'm not saying that I've always looked at myself like this. I'm not saying I've always been incredible at doing this. But what I can tell you is if someone had told me this when I was 20, how easy it is to stop your brain from thinking. I lost a friend. I lived in Italy when I was 25. A friend of mine committed suicide when I was over there. She was incredible. She was Miss Australia. She was beautiful. She had a gorgeous baby. She had so much at her feet. And I sort of thought, what creates, what makes someone go down that path? What makes someone pushes them to that point? No one can ever answer those questions. But what I did answer for myself was, I'm not going to overthink things. I'm not going to take life too seriously. I'm going to give out where I can give out. I'm going to give back where I can give back. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to treat myself the best way that I can. So I know I've jumped around with many topics and many different conversations within this one episode, but what I'm really trying to tell you is be your best friend. Talk to yourself kindly. When you look in the mirror, look at the beauty within yourself. Look at the fact that you're well. And even if you have gone through bouts of sickness, look in the mirror and say, I'm healthy, I'm well. It's training the cells in your body. It's training the parts of your brain to start thinking wellness. Because a lot of the time when you've had repeat sicknesses and repeat illnesses, you can find yourself in this spiral. So, think of something you can do for someone else. If you're finding it struggle and hard to look in the mirror and see something nice in yourself, go and do something nice for someone else. And then when you look in the mirror, think of that nice thing you've said for someone else. And eventually you're going to retrain the brain to look in the mirror, see the best in yourself, look in the mirror and understand that no matter what shape you are, no matter what size you are, love that person now. But love that person now. Don't wait to love yourself till you lose 2 kilos. Don't wait to love yourself till your hair grows a bit longer. Love yourself now. It's just like happy. It's a choice. And I know you can do it. I know you can train yourself to do it. And I'm excited for this journey because this is the last little tick in this episode. This is the last little tick in this season. It's the last rounding off to make you a better person in 2025. I've got so many more fun things to share with you, ways that you can improve yourself, but more's to come. I'm going to leave this episode with a message to myself, my 20-year-old self. I wish... And you say, don't look back because you get a sore neck. But this is what I would have wished for myself when I was 20. I wish that I wouldn't have stayed in a relationship when I knew it was wrong. I wish that I'd paid more attention to my finances on a daily matter. I wish that I'd eaten a lot healthier. I wished I'd put more time aside for exercise for myself. I wished I'd viewed toxic relationships and could recognize them straight away and realize when people are putting you down, when people are criticizing me and not making me see myself as the best version that I am. I wish all of these things for you because I know it's going to make a difference on your journey, whether you're 12 or 80. We can never stop evolving. We can never stop moving. We can never stop improving. We can never stop making better versions of ourselves. Make time for you because you are important. This wraps up season 1 of Vodka Lectures. I've had so much fun discovering the better versions of you for 2025. Now, I have some secrets in store. Vodka Lectures is going to take a few twists and turns, just like my life always does. Make sure you're following so you're first to be notified as soon as we're back, and you can come along for this crazy ride with your vodka lecture. Until we meet again.